Once again, we're back with another topic, combustible elements, the three kings, Ruben the Monarch, Aaron the Hitman. I'm Big Mel. We're going to talk about the metaverse. I had to do my research on this one. This was a crazy topic for me. I thought it was something else. I was wrong. You know, I was in comic books like the multiverse. Yeah, different reality, alternate realities. Let's go. I was wrong. So, oh, and also shout out, Ruben. When we were talking last week, and I said that I didn't say if the person didn't have the money, you was like, if he didn't have the money to do it, you were right. I was wrong. I can own up when I'm wrong. You were right. I was wrong. All right. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's start with you, Ruben. What you got to say about the metaverse? Explain what it is to everyone.
Oh, nah, I can't explain it because I'm still trying to get a grasp of it. You know, the point of us talking about it today was basically trying to get to understand,
Okay,
the values.
We go curve. Aaron, explain it for us.
See, I don't know. So honestly, the same thing as Ruben. Like, I'm still trying to understand it. I'm trying to understand the concept behind it. I know it's virtual reality. And you can make a virtual person and actually, navigate through this virtual world. One of the other people that I know was actually talking about that they are selling land inside the metaverse, which I don't understand. Like, it's the same thing as buying land in real life, which is to me, is not like buying the land in real life because I can't physically possess this land. But it's like, what'd you say?
Okay. So, like you three, I did my research. I mean, you two, I did my research today, right? I can understand the applications of it. So, yes, you're buying this virtual land. The application that goes with it is if you can create a landscape, it's two applications for what you just said. The first one would be all virtual. If you could create a landscape where people would like to come in and play those virtual games or that virtual reality in your already shared perspective landscape, then you can charge them money to come over there and they can interact. So I do understand that portion because people can interact from all over the world. The second portion is if you can't actually get to see the land, but you can see the land virtually, even though you're buying the land, it's not a virtual landscape that you're buying. You're actually buying the actual land. You understand what I'm saying? Like if you were virtually driving a car and you wanted to know how you would feel, handling the car and this and that. Of course, you wouldn't be able to get all the sensations yet. Technology will probably get you there where you can get all the sensations, but you can get a feel for it. So they're taking that technology and using it for other applications because, listen, they had like 10 or 20 years to develop this technology to make money from it. Because, the government was probably using this technology long before the regular civilians came across it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to use it. So it's many applications, some that we don't even know about, but now is just the phase where they're going to try to make money. So does that explain that portion of it a little bit to you?
Yeah, I still don't. I mean, I understand it, but I still don't. Like, when I say I don't understand it, it's pointless to me for you to do that. Because then there's these people on the back end making all these tons of money off of a fake world. And like, it's just disconnecting us from so many different things that we're supposed to be connected to, like human interaction. And it's going to be just like now everybody's just trying to transition into the metaverse and virtual reality, and it's crazy to me.
We always did that. And I'm sorry, Ruben, go ahead, because I cut you.
I think part of what I'm understanding with the metaverse is, I don't know if you remember the original Matrix, and essentially, like, from the concept book, from the way the movie what was written, it was like everyone, majority of the humans were essentially living their life through the metaverse, whereas they're sitting somewhere, they're attached to a computer, and they can be whoever they want to be. Like, they could be rich, they could be poor. I mean, most people are going to choose to be rich, if you have your choice in the metaverse. But whatever that reality was in the metaverse was their reality, even though they were actually strapped to a chair and plugged in to some type of, you know, some type of bulb, whatever that their real body was. Like, they lived their lives through the metaverse. You know, their actual body may be contained in a ship somewhere, or maybe locked away in storage somewhere inside, like some type of hyperbaric time chamber or water, and just keeping the vital signs alive. You know, just enough so they could live their fantasies and their it's not even fantasies and what to live their what's to them is their real life in the metaverse. And then they make any mentions of the metaverse and the Matrix. They actually called it the Matrix. So essentially, like, I feel like the Matrix and the metaverse are basically one.
Okay, so if I understand it correctly, with the metaverse, people are choosing to do things in augmented reality as opposed to in the Matrix. They was plugged in and didn't know they was plugged in. You know what I mean? So
I think what the Matrix essentially becomes is it's like it's evolution of the metaverse, I should say. So it's like with the metaverse right now, you're choosing, okay, I get to buy land in the metaverse and I own property next to, you know, people that in real life I wouldn't be able to own property to because I don't have that amount of wealth yet. But I can go get crypto and I could buy property in the metaverse. And then now I can be neighbors with Snoop Dogg, or I could be neighbors with Pharrell. I could be neighbors with certain superstars because I bought, you know, piece of land and piece of property early on in the metaverse. So it's essentially like a new world, you know, that people are taking stakes and claiming early on, sort of like how they in the 1500s, the 1400s, you know, the Europeans started staking claims to different part of what is now known as the Americas, or what was then known as the Americas.
But which is crazy because if I purchase a domain name and build a website, that's the same thing as having a metaverse. I could put whatever I want up on the website. I could build the website up and people come onto my website and pay me for the services that I have. And that's the same thing.
Yeah, but like the way the metaverse works is it's like the website 3.0. So it's essentially like when the internet first came out, you had people saying like, nah, man, this is stupid. Who's going to spend all their time on the internet? And then Web 2.0 came because the original internet, you couldn't interact. And then you got the internet we got now, which is essentially Web 2.0, which is you can interact, you know, the way we were able to have this Zoom call right now through the internet and everything. And people now is dependent upon. And with all the things like COVID and the different ways that the world is going with a lot of insecurities for people, you know, a lot of people got a lot of high level of anxiety. You know, if you could tell somebody, look, you can sit at the comfort of your house, okay? You don't have to leave your house. You can stay right here. You can be safe, but then you can still live and travel and go everywhere your imagination allows you to, but you're safe. Like you can jump off a cliff and land on the other side, and you have all the exhilaration of jumping off a cliff, but you're at the safety of your house.
Yeah,
that's where.
So before, not to cut you off, because I know Mel about to say something, but before you say something, Mel, the only things only work if everybody subscribes to it. If they brought out the metaverse and nobody was like, no, I'm not doing it, then the metaverse wouldn't be anything. But to the point where you're saying like, we're going to be able to experience these things, we can experience them to a limit. Like Mel said, you can experience driving a car to a limit. The only way that you'll be able to fully experience these things is if you allow them access to your mind in order for you to feel those things up here. Because doing it virtual, we could put the headsets on and all that, and we'll get the little bit of sensation. But once you start to understand that it's just that little bit of sensation, then we want more. People always want more. We want the more.
And that's where the addiction to the metaverse is going to come in at, where people are going to spend more time in the metaverse than they spend, you know, and what we now call as our regular reality. Because case in point, when the cell phones came out, right? regular cell phones, which is big blocks, you make a phone call, blah, blah, blah. But as technology advanced, I get a message on my phone every week telling me how much screen time I done had on my phone. If I'm up percentage or if I'm low percentage. Last week, my percentage for my screen time was up on my phone. I've spent like about 7 hours on my phone, which is crazy because even if I'm not spending 7 hours straight looking at my screen, I've looked at my screen a total of 7 hours over a 24-hour period. Like that's an exuberant amount of time for me because I try to spend no more than 5 to 6 hours of average screen time weekly. But as the metaverse and things like that start to become more of a routine and regular implemented thing, like that's gonna become the new normal. Whether me and you like it or whether me and you agree on it, it's the same way you couldn't stop the internet, the same way you can't stop the rain, you can't stop the metaverse.
But that's what I'm saying. Who would want that though?
What do you mean who would want that?
Who would want
that?
I just told you.
I'm going to jump into this portion of it because let's call a spade before we even go back into the metaverse. Right now, a lot of people are addicted to drugs and alcohol because they're trying to leave reality. They're trying to be in their own space. So now you're sitting down here and you're saying, we'll have this technology where you can put it on your head and you can live in your own space. And I haven't done the Oculus yet. I want to, all right. But I did go down to Wonder Space downtown, which is a new wave art museum. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And you sit down at a table and you look at this virtual reality dinner. It was crazy. To your point, like, what sensations will you get more? Well, a lot of people in this world right now are visual. You know what I mean? A lot of people are more visual than auditory. We believe what our eyes see. So those sensations that you put together and your body fill in the blanks while you watching it with your eye, it's really deep. It's like you're really there without the other sensations going on because your brain is so powerful. It makes up for the missing spaces that's in between, like it always does without your control. So to your point, who's going to do it? There's a lot of people that want to leave reality, and they try to leave reality not with technology, but with drugs and alcohol. But so there's going to be a lot of people that do that.
So I know Ruben mentioned The Matrix. I don't know if you guys watch or into Marvel or whatever, but I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on it's on Netflix now. And on one of the seasons, they had something called the framework. And basically the framework was the same thing. Like you plug up into a machine and they give you a whole backstory, a whole life, and then you're in the framework and you don't even realize that you're in a framework. You don't even realize that you're part of a virtual reality world because everything is so real. But the way that everything is so real is that they have to access your memories. They have to access your mind. And that's the point that it's going to have to get to in order for everything to be completely real. Because understand. Go ahead, Ruben.
No, continue. I'm going to just add to what you're saying, but continue.
Like I understand, the bad thing about it is they're already drawing kids in it because everything now is a virtual reality world. When you get on Apex Legends, when you get on what is that, Roblox, when you get on Minecraft, everything is a virtual reality world where you get to build up your house, you get to build up your land, and then people come over there, people ride the rides that you have and they give you fake money. They just setting the kids up right now to be comfortable with that type of living. And then when they get older, because the metaverse is just opening up and is new to us, but by the time they get older, get our age or their kids get our age, that's going to be the norm. So it's going to be like, well, we were already accustomed to this. That's something that we was used to doing. So bam, this is what it is. And it's crazy, like to see it happening in our generation, but we don't always take things as serious as it is.
It happens in every generation, man. Like I'm sure our parents are sitting around looking like, yo, like I remember when a telephone what was a standard thing. You couldn't walk around with it. You couldn't go everywhere with it. Something as simple like I'm old enough and young enough to remember when you couldn't make phone calls to everybody, because it was long distance. If you were in Jersey, I was in Philadelphia, that's a long distance phone call. I can't call you, or I'm being charged for that. Or better yet, I couldn't talk, freely on my phone because it wasn't 9 o'clock yet. Like that's all from like this generation, my generation. And I'm not, you know, I'm not in my 40s yet or anything like that. So it's progress of life. Yes, you're right. My kids, for instance, they spend a lot of time on Roblox. They spend a lot of time building their own world. Like for them, for us right now, we have this conversation with the metaverse. It's like, oh man, this is not, you know, I don't like it. But all that does is shows like you're the generation going out. Whereas like your kids are gonna be your kids, my kids, they're perfectly okay with the transition into the metaverse. They're perfectly okay with, you know, creating world. And like my daughter's extremely good with building houses and building me you know, my own house because I can't stay in her house. You know, she has her own house and she got it set up with all the fixings. You know, whereas like my other son, he builds himself a really nice house, but he builds me a nice room in his house. So I know if he in his metaverse house, I could stay there. Now my daughter's, I'm gonna have my own house. I'm okay with that too. But my son allows me to stay with him in his house. You know, which is really well put together. But that Roblox, what's the other one? Minecraft. They got a couple of those games where, you know, they're already being trained. You know, the next generation, the people that's gonna be using it, the people that's gonna be plugged into it, like they're already there.
Yo, so all right, go ahead, Mel.
All right, I'm gonna jump in. Ruben brought up a couple good points, and you brought up a couple good points. Your example with cell phones was really good, but I'm gonna give you a better one. Who would have thought from the time that you were a kid to now that you would be able to walk around with a computer in your pocket? That's really what a cell phone is now. It's a computer in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't purchased a computer personally in years. I don't need one. I have a cell phone. I have a cell phone that I spend a lot of money on that does just about everything that a computer can do.
Now,
if not more.
Exactly. The second point to what you said, your daughter is drilled in the house and this and that. Virtual reality, augmented reality, the metaverse, it all started because it was going to be useful in training. And a lot of training comes from military ideas. A lot of technology that we use comes from the military. And then when the military has adapted it for public consumption, that's when we get it, when they figure out how they can make money from it. Now, the simulators, I got to believe the simulators, the war games, they were virtual reality, and it was probably on this level and we had no idea about the technology being used. So with the aspect of that, it was used for training. You're talking about some of these games like your daughter builds a house. Like I've never played any of these virtual reality games yet, but like I said, I want to. I just haven't had time. But even though I have virtual reality experiences, the training aspect, like your daughter's learning how to build her house, what is necessary to build her house. I'm assuming she's learning how to buy stuff to stack her house, how to spend money, how to obtain money, how to sell money, how to barter and trade, how to supply food, how to get the land, how to position yourself to get the land next to your land so dad can live next to my house and not around to the other side of the continent. So is it really a bad thing? Because it's training kids how to do things that they're not learning in school. And sometimes they're not learning in their own families. So I can't say that it's a bad thing. And then one last point before I let you two answer. At some point, we probably will be plugged into it on a more emotional level, because your brain is electrical impulses. Electrical impulses go through your body. It makes up who you are. It's electronic technology. At some point, it's going to be compatible. That's just the trappings of technology. They learn new ways to do new things. So at some point, and it may not be in our generation, it might be the next one or the one after that, they might learn how to really plug you into a machine. So guys, what do you think about that aspect of it? The training aspect and the fact that technology-wise, we might be able to plug in. And then we'll go back to the drug, how people try to escape reality too in a second.
So I mean, the appeal to it is that they appeal to what they know people want to hear and what people want access to. So it's going to sound good. And yeah, you may learn a little bit of things from these games, how to barter and trade, but that's not necessarily how it would work in the real world. But it is some applications from those games that you can use or try to apply into the real world. But like I'm too much, I'm not going to say like I'm a conspiracy theorist, but at the same time, like appealing, like watching some of these shows like Black Mirror, where they also had a season or episode where nobody died. When you were on your deathbed, you had the option to upload your mind into a frame, a mainframe, where you would live out the rest of your life, and your loved ones can go get plugged in and then go visit you. Like your mind, your consciousness is in this world. So who's not gonna, if your mom is on her deathbed, or your dad, or somebody, your wife, somebody that you love, one of your kids about to die, and you have the option to upload their consciousness, and they would still be that person, it just wouldn't be physical anymore, and you can go to the hospital or go to this place and plug up and then go see them anytime you want to, or you're on your deathbed and you have that option, and but your family that lives on has to pay, you know, for you to occupy that space. Who's not going to want to do that? Like everybody, they say like all billionaires and millionaires, you know, are trying to find out how to be immortal, how to live forever. Like if you can upload your consciousness and it's still you into a mainframe, however you want to call it, and you live out your life forever, like who's not going to want to do that? You don't have to go through pain, you don't have to go through sickness. You're living, it's your consciousness, and your loved ones can come see you. Your great grandkids could even go and plug up and come see you. Like who's going to be like, no, I'm not for that. But that's the setup though, because then you have to allow access. You have to allow whoever makes this program to access your memories. You have to allow your family lineage to be accessed. Like who is going for that though?
What do you mean who's going for that?
Who's going for that?
A lot of people. I think
a lot of people are trying to beat death. Go ahead, Ruben.
So,
go ahead.
I think what you failed to realize is, humans, we want like you said, nobody really want to die. I mean, some people might feel as though, you know, they don't have a better option than to kill themselves, but overall, like most people want to live, if not forever, but for a very long time. If you're in good shape, you're in good health, you know, like what reasons would you have to wanna die? Or better yet, if you're not in good health, but your brain is still sharp, you know, and you have the option of like, yo, you can keep this body, and you know your brain is fine, but your body's deteriorating, or we can upload your mind to somewhere else, and then eventually we'll work on getting you a new body at some point later on. Who wouldn't jump to that? I would jump to that. I'm not going. I'm signing up for that. Hey, listen. We're gonna take your consciousness. We're gonna store it in here in this computer for a couple of years, and then we're gonna bring you back at 6'3". You know.
Okay. Well, I understand what you're saying, and I'm on Team Ruben with this one. You know, either I'm gonna live forever or I'm gonna die trying. That's always been my slogan. So I'm going to continue that. But we all try to cheat death. But are you really cheating death if somebody uploads your memories? You know what I mean? Because your body's still dead, and your soul still inhabits your body. So when it goes back to the universe, however it goes, whatever your belief is. But it's just a copy of your memories. And it's a copy of your memories so your family can still interact with you on certain levels and have conversations with you. But it's not built on what you're still learning in life. It's built on what you already learned in life.
But
so it's a cheap and pale imitation.
So it's a replay essentially.
Yeah, it's a replay of what you did.
But what if it wasn't just a replay? What if that the memory, like it's like the same way we got AI that essentially like learns, like you build it, it knows, but then like it essentially starts picking up different things and starts learning on its own. It starts self-teaching itself. I mean, that's redundant, but it just starts to
It's not redundant. What you said is what an AI does. Some of them are made to learn from their mistakes, like people. They're made to pick up on certain things ahead of time. And I understand what you're saying. You're saying if the AI can pick up on what you would do in certain situations, but that would be the AI picking up what you would do in certain situations, not you picking up what you would do in certain situations. So it may mimic your algorithms or what you might do in certain things because of what your memories and some decisions that you made. But at some time, at some moment, at some instance, we have all been unpredictable and chose to go left where we should have went right our whole damn life. And that changed the trajectory of what we believe in certain aspects. So yeah, it's going to basically be a copy of who you are. And that might be good. And that's some form of immortality, because what are we but want to be remembered? Everybody would love to be remembered, right? Excuse me, that's some form of immortality. Say like what?
I said, well, you better do something great if you want to be remembered.
True. But I mean, what is considered great? Great by other standards, great by billionaire standards, great by politician standards, or can you be great just being who you are in your own life, the people that you touch? Some people that you touch may turn out and mimic what you said, and the people they touch may mimic what you said, and then their next generation may mimic them. That doesn't lessen your greatness. So many people are great, but we never know about them. We only know about the people that do the most impossible deeds, as if they did it alone, or the front man that came in there. Oh, they developed this. It might have been a team of scientists right behind them. The idea may have came to the person that brought them coffee. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. Like, our terminology of great in society can't really be weighed because it's always going with some war, occupying some land, some politician, some ruler, or some heroic deed. So, I mean, it all depends on what you do that is great. Sometimes being remembered in subtle ways might be enough. However, we're going to get to our question, who's to blame? And so, once again, this was a topic I knew nothing about, but let's do it. Who's to blame for people that are running to being in false reality than trying to better their own life? Because a lot of people hide in false realities, not just the metaverse, drugs, alcohol, like I stated before, bad relationships. They run into a false sense of security. So who's to blame for that?
All right.
Either one of you.
And because the way you phrased the question, I can't blame the parents, because if you want a better reality for yourself, you got to do that. You got to do that for yourself. You got to be able to step out on a limb and create that better reality, or get the help that you need in order to have a better reality, instead of trying to escape through drugs, technology, and any other form of escapism that people use, including victimhood. People use that to try to escape the reality that they just bums and they don't want to do better in life. So I'm gonna blame the individual and not the parents today.
Interesting answer. I just knew it was going to be the parents. Ruben?
I'm actually going. I feel like society and your upbringing has a lot to do with that. So, in a way, I am going to blame the parents because as a parent, you're your child's first teacher. Before they go to school, before they go out into the world, like, they're learning from you even when you're not teaching them. They're watching you, they're observing you, they're copying you and how you respond and how you react and how you do certain things. And they're listening to you. Even when you don't think they're listening to you. So I definitely personally have to blame the parents, and then I blame society because as the child and as the people, they're growing and learning and they're sponging and they're reacting to everything that they're seeing at home. They go out into society and they're learning there also, especially when you're young. And that's there are people now who are adults who have always wanted this alternate reality, whether it be in the form of drugs, whether it be in the form of alcohol, whether it be in the form of gambling, whatever they might vice may have been. So essentially, the metaverse gives you a safer, at least for now, alternative to drugs, to alcohol, to gambling, and being able to live the life that you've always wanted to live.
Well, this is interesting. We have Mr. I blame the parents, not blame the parents. Mr. I blame the government, not blame the government. All right. And you have Mr. Me in the middle, who's always confused to the very end. That's why I go last. That from the beginning said to myself, I'm going to blame the parents, not because a person doesn't decide what doors they walk through in life, because I always say that a parent can only show you to the right door, and then it's up to you to decide to go in the right direction. They can't take responsibility for all the choices that you make, and they can't take responsibility for all the bad choices that you make, good or bad choices that you make. Let me rephrase that. However, I'm going to blame the parents because I'm a firm believer that, yes, you have to teach your kids, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. You can play with this, you can play with that. Keep on track with what your peers are doing, which a lot of kids are going to be playing these games because their peers have them, so they get it. And I've been on track with that for the majority of my life. But I always say that before you sit down there and show your children that the world can be this or that, and you can do this and this in the world, you have to show them that you can live in the world, because the world is a beautiful place to live in. Now, we may have problems in the world, but it's up to their generation to fix the problems. The young replace the old. So you have to show them what they're dealing with. So as parents, we have to give our children a little taste of reality. And we have to let them know that it's all right to live in reality, that sometimes reality may be bad, but if you can get to the other side, it's so much better because you put that work in. So I'm going to blame the parents that try to hide their kids from the world and then expect their kids not to hide from the world when they become adults. I think that's lunacy. I think that's stupid. I think that's farsighted. So teach your kids to live in the world. That's my advice on that. I want to thank everybody for joining us with Combustible Elements. This was an interesting topic. Maybe next time we can talk about the theory of the multiverse or alternate dimensions. Then you can see another side of Mel you didn't know about. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have a comment, please give us a like, subscribe. If you want to join us on the show, we're always looking for guests. We've been winding it down lately towards the end of the year, but we're going to turn it back up. We need some guests on. We want other points of view. We want to have a conversation. If we can have a conversation, we can learn from you. You can learn from us. We can be better together. We may not disagree, but sometimes in a disagreement, knowledge is gained. So I'm Big Mel. I'm joined by Ruben the Monarch, Aaron the Hitman. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. We out here. Like and subscribe, comment, listen to us on different platforms. Tell us what you think. We're here for you. Let's grow together. Peace out. Happy New Year.